Hello there. This is the second time for me trying to record this. Basically, a little thing went wrong. We're all good though. All right. As you might remember, last episode we started on this scenario with creatures living underwater in a planet like Europa or something like that. If you're not familiar with what we're doing right now, I'd recommend going to the first episode of this series that I'm calling Nerding Out. And also this is the first episode of this little adventure that we're having. Here is the link. That'll hopefully be in the description and in a comment if you want to nerd out as well with this tech tree. More is explained in the first episode. I highly recommend you go see it. Certainly go see the second one if you are interested in this scenario that we are going through right now. If you're familiar with Europa, several kilometers of ice surrounding what is believed to be a liquid underwater ocean. What if life developed there? How far could it get technologically, theoretically? So, let's go. Ideograms. That's basically like Chinese characters and hieroglyphs. Go ahead. You can have that. Archery. That requires obsidian weaponry, but that's fine. We already have that. That's all good. However, I'm not sure how good archery would work underwater. So I'm going to say no. Agriculture. Now you might say that there's no plants, so we can't have agriculture, but there's funguses and bacterial colonies. So I argue you could have agriculture. Definitely could. It'd be a bit different, of course, as many things would, when you live underwater with no sunlight or starlight. A community? Yeah. Taxonomy is the science of classifying living organisms. Go ahead, that's fine. Pottery. That wouldn't exactly be able to be done underwater, because if you're familiar with pottery at all, it has to be fired in a kiln and dried. Nah, not happening. But there are replacements for pottery, clay pots and such. It just won't work too well. So, don't worry, this isn't gonna go on much longer. This is definitely gonna be the last episode, because we aren't getting out of the ancient era, that's for sure. It's a little spoiler for you. Bread making. I'm sure after quarantine we're all familiar with how to bake. So you can't exactly do it underwater, can you? Consciousness. Class consciousness, yes. Woody Guthrie, I mean folk music, yeah. Also, I just noticed, Scotland. I'm Scottish, by the way. You got Scotland, and I think Ghana? One of the West African countries. Maybe it's Guinea. Or Guinea-Bissau. Or Gambia. It's not Liberia, I know that. Liberia is basically just the American flag, but only one star. Folk dance. Caste system. Boo. Fungiculture. Now, it says it needs pottery, but I think that you don't really need pottery. You could use other containers if you needed containers. You know, some sort of bone vessel or something. Like a skull. Or an emptied out tube worm tube. If you're not familiar with tube worms, go look them up. In fact, you know what? Actually, here is a tube worm. Yeah. So they look like this. They live near volcanic vents. The red stuff is fleshy. The white stuff is bone, basically. So yeah, that's completely fine. we could do stuff with that stuff. Apiculture. So basically, bees, what they do is they go around from flower to flower and they spread pollen from flower to flower. And they take the nectar from these flowers, go back to their hive, and make honey out of it. I think that this could happen underwater as well. I've already searched it up. You could have underwater pollinization. I always say pollinization. Maybe it's just like a dialect thing. But it's pollination. I don't know. It's kind of like how I say mayonnaise. Like, a lot of people in America say mayonnaise. Or if you're trying to be a pretentious fuck, you say mayonnaise. I say mayonnaise. I don't know. A lot of my O's become A's. It's a little thing in my dialect. I also often don't really enunciate because I'm a teenager. But anyways, if you read this, basically, underwater invertebrates can carry pollen. Yeah, we're all good. I think it could definitely happen. Sailing, not really though. No. I did look up underwater currents speed because there's underwater currents, but it moves only about 5 miles per hour. That's about how fast the average human jogs, I believe. So, nah, it wouldn't be that useful, so I don't think that it would really happen. So no sailing. Mining, however, sure. Oop, excuse. I'm gonna burp in a few minutes, probably. A fucking burp compilation. Oh god. Mining, wheels, ancestor worship. Yeah, that's all good. Mesopotamianism, booyah. Orchards. Now, here is actually where, about where I kind of screwed up a little bit. Basically, yeah, I had a small technical thing that I screwed up. So, orchards, fruit, are basically, fruit trees. They, have a fleshy bulb of some sort, and inside are seeds or a pit filled with seeds. And the tree hopes that the fruit is eaten, and that the seeds survive the animal's digestive tract, come out the offensive end of the animal, and then get deposited within the newly made fertilizer, still warm for the plant. So, I think this could happen with funguses as well. You could have a sweet tasting, or just in general, just some fleshy, some fungal flesh surrounding a pit of some sort with fungal spores inside the pit. So the fungal fleshy bulb gets eaten, and then the pit gets deposited a long way away, hopefully. And so yeah, I think it could happen. I think orchards could be made with funguses. It'd be a bit weird though, but just brainstorming. Exploration. You can explore without sailing. It's fine. Naval warfare. Now, I'm just gonna say that it's the same as warfare, quite frankly. Because the main reason that naval warfare is like such a big thing, it's its own category, is because you can't exactly walk and run and do cavalry charges on the ocean. So you have to have boats, and that's why. And boats can't do like a 180-degree turn instantaneously or anything like that. So that is why naval warfare is a completely different game, because it has different rules and different terrain. So you wouldn't have naval warfare, but I don't think that would end the civilization or anything, really. I'll still put it on the list of things that we can't do, though. Alright. Chariotry. Now, chariotry basically, well, you probably have seen movies and stuff. I don't think that it would work out all that well. Since you're underwater, I'm not really too sure how fast this might be. It could still work. I'm just not too sure. I mean, I guess it would be alright. You know what? That's actually something we need to talk about. Would these creatures walk on the seafloor like crabs, or would they be able to swim about like fish? Perhaps it's kind of both. Maybe they can jump. Do crabs jump? Hold on. Do crabs jump? Oh, this is not 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 pubic crabs, you fucking idiots. Marine crabs. Well, octopuses chase crabs underwater. Moray eels catch them above water. They observe moray eels jump. Crabs of a mighty mangrove tree crab can climb. It can jump. It may very well rewrite understanding of who is eating what and why. Well, this lady's eating that lady because they love each other very much. um, um, I'm gonna say no jumping. They swim, so they aren't stuck on the floor. So with that in mind, I don't think the chariots would really be a thing. So there's no vehicles, really. Although, I guess what you could do is you could still have like a floating chariot. Something like that. Yeah, that could definitely work. Alright, you know what? I think chariotry could happen. It just wouldn't be on the ground. It'd be in the sea. In the sky of the sea, that is, or whatever. Standardization? Sure. Heritage? Sacrifice. Mummification? Okay, mummification. You might think, what? It always happens in Egypt, and they like dry out and put embalming thing on it. Well, there are cases of like mud mummies or something like that, I believe. Mud mummies. Mud mummy. We're just seeing Egyptian mummy encased in mud. Basically, okay, I swear that I have like seen like depictions of basically of mummies. What they would do is basically, it's not actually like a ritual that really happens. Like, it's kind of a form of fossilization, really. Someone fell into a pit of mud in ancient times, and then they were discovered later, and they were very well preserved. Creepily well preserved. They looked like they were screaming. They probably were. Um, anyways, I think that mud mummies could definitely be a thing. So I think mummification is not out of the question. Fermentation. Now, this is the main example that I made, example thing, lol. So, fermentation. Well, that basically requires letting something rot. It's basically having a special type of fungus, yeast, aka yeast, um, and then a and then some sort of grain or fruit be taken over by that yeast and fermented. Now, I at first thought, well, that would be impossible to do underwater because the alcohol would get driven away by basically wind. But here is something I looked up: alcohol and water density. Alcohol and water do not have the same density. Water is more dense than alcohol. I remember like, oh yeah, I learned this in high school. That's how distillation is able to be done. And distillation is basically the reason that hard liquors like vodka can be made. Because you boil off the alcohol before the water. Oh wait, that has nothing to do with density. That's boiling temperature. Never mind. But still, basically you can separate alcohol and water. Now I'm not quite sure if this applies to drinking alcohol, but I just want to assume it does for simplicity. And I want to show you this really cool design I came up with. So, basically, what you have is, I need, that will do. So you have something like that, and it's, maybe put up on a pedestal. So you have a plate on a pedestal, kinda, and then you have, your little fruit and stuff in there, and some yeast. Some yeast sprinkled on it, to make it ferment. Now, since at least some form of alcohol, probably medical alcohol, because that was like that earlier article was basically, it was like a middle school experiment. So you have the yeast, aka yeast. I'm gonna call it yeast though because I'm annoying. Sprinkled on some like fruit or fungal something or other. Oh wait, no, it's all fungal. Fungal foot. It could probably happen still, though. Eh. Let's assume it can. And then what you have is basically just another one of these. No, no. Just want one. There we go. It's a bit bigger. And it also... Nah, just leave it like that. It's basically, it's supported like this. Yeah, and it's not like this is airtight. Like this is kind of like a spoke design. Like you could easily, I don't know, it'd be like here's like I guess a top-down view of this. So here's this, basically, is that, and then you would have several legs going off on their individual little directions, each doing their own little like thing. Maybe like you have four, maybe, for example. And it's a really simplistic depiction, but basically you have four different legs. So it's not like it's completely encased in this. It doesn't have to be at all. Not necessary. So you have something that looks kind of like this, and then as the the fruit and stuff decay and ferment, the alcohol floats, hopefully, up to the top. So then you have some alcohol, kind of like this, but less stupid. So there you go. There's your alcohol, and then you can kind of just like lift up the bowl, and then yeah, so the alcohol's still in there, and then someone could kind of stick their head in. And drink it. So there you go. There is oh, no. There is my there's my example of how fermentation might work. underwater. If recreational alcohol is indeed not as dense as water. Uh, you're welcome. Anyways, beer. All right. Stargazing. Nuh-uh. No stargazing. There's no stars. Negotiation. Yes. Copperworking. Now, a bit hard to do without fire. Theoretically, you could do something with the volcanic vents, but, like... Ooh, do we really, like, wanna deal with that? I mean... Well... Yeah, I don't know, it would be very, very difficult, and copper would rust anyways underwater, so I don't think that this is possible whatsoever. Yeah, not possible whatsoever. So, we're starting to get to things that actually matter, that are not copperable, not possible. Pulley systems, probably, yeah. Masonry, sure. Not lead though. Actually, I don't know if lead rusts or not, but you need. I don't know. I'm gonna assume it does. No, no board game. Yes, you can have board games. Folk medicine, oil lamps, trade, the plow. Now, I'm gonna say that the plow could still be used. Just use stone instead of metal digger. I don't understand why it's after copper. Like, you can have a plow made out of stone. Come on, bro. No metal casting, though. Nuh-uh, none of that. The textile loom. It's a little bit, it could happen. Salt processing, sure. The ceremony, sure. Soap making, I'm not too sure how helpful that would be. But sure. Piracy. I think it could happen, even if it's technically just straight up banditry, because it's not really like piracy if you're underwater, but it's fine. Irrigation? Now, that one, I mean, well, everything's wet already, so you don't even need that, yeah. Sericulture, basically growing things for their textiles, for silk and stuff like that. I think that there could definitely be something like that underwater. Sculpture, sure. Yoruba, yeah, sure. Priesthood, falconry. I think there could definitely be a thingy, an animal like the falcon underwater. Gardening, yeah. Leisure. Ornamentation, not quite sure what that means at all, but I mean, that presumably it looks like metal masks and stuff like that, so um yeah, quite frankly, I'm gonna say we can do it. It's okay, you can do it. You can do it with stone masks, fucking hell. Or other bone masks. Dualism, oratory, divination, candle making. Well, candles wouldn't be useful at all, so no candle making, but, still. Shinto, specialization, the sundial, and you can make furniture. Right? Excuse me, told you I'd have a burp in a few minutes. Nagaism, matriarchy, Andeism, resurrection. You can't have locks without metal. Metal is just so malleable. So no locks. I think we're starting to get towards the end, though, of what is possible. Bronze working? Nuh-uh, certainly not. Plumbing? Not really. I mean, no, I don't think that is possible. No. Gears. You could do that with bone. You could do that with bone or stone. But it is a lot easier to do with metal. So I'm going to say no gears. Yeah. Cuisine? Yeah, we got everything we need there. Monotheism? Sure. Veterinary medicine? Yep. Patriarchy, magic, polytheism, seafaring? Well, there's none of that. Brass monkey? I mean, brass working? No. Central heating? Well, no, none of that. Hydraulic mining? Ooh, that is interesting. I never noticed this tech before because I basically just do, like, the what if there's no metal or stone, so I never got... Okay. That kind of looks like gold panning maybe or something? Interesting. I'm gonna say no, though, because you need plumbing, presumably. Scriptures? Well, that would be a bit difficult without paper, or scrolls, or clay tablets, or anything. You could do it. It'd be quite difficult to do, but you could do it with little shards of bone and such. Zoroastrianism? Sure. Karma, Cainism, Cometicism, cloud patterns? Well, there's none of that. Linguistics? Yeah, could do that. Glass blowing? Nope. Hinduism, Judaism, monarchy requires a scripture and patriarchy, and then reincarnation. Yeah, well, okay. You know what? I'm gonna say scriptures are kind of like a... Well, like in this case, it's religious scriptures, but it's kind of like a code of laws and such, and that would be very hard to write on like shards of bone and such, or you could carve it into like a pillar, that's like a stone pillar of some sort, but I mean, there's erosion and stuff, so I don't know, it would go away pretty fast, so it is difficult. Theoretically, we could get to a classical lifestyle, kinda. Apparently needs central heating and cuisine, and what is that other one that it's showing? Yeah, what is that one? It looks, it's linguistics, okay. Yeah, maybe. You know what? We have a few minutes. I'm going to check out the classical tree. Shipbuilding? Nope. Huh. And then that's Norse. That's the Norse word for Norse. Aristocracy, military training, nope. Male alphabet. Oh, Rod Navara. That's the Baltic religion, basically. Meditation, horse breeding, geometry, rebuilding, photography, literature, and codal. Okay, yeah. Now we're getting to like it'd be difficult to do that on shards of bone. Buddhism, mounted archery. Well, archery. Stirrups requires metal for sure. Combat sports. Hellenism. Calendar. City plan. Yeah, you start to get to a bit of a limit. Yeah. Well, I hope that this was fun. Nerding out. Um, I don't know. I've kind of given up on stuff. So instead, I'm gonna show you the final little tech tree. Basically, you become gods. So let's see what this is all like. You got a transcendent lifestyle. You have the metaverse and dual flux quantum temporal rift or whatever, and horizon breaking and stream navigation. I have no idea what any of this stuff means. Uh, I don't think anyone's even ever gotten to this place. I really think that these guys, like, I really appreciate this mod and like everything it's trying to do, but honestly, I kind of think that it should end at like the end of nanotech or something, or maybe transhuman, because like at some point a lot of the time people will be very, very strong, and then it doesn't really make much sense either, because as a human race, like, surely by the time you like are trying to conquer the galaxy, you would have unified everything at home. And most maps, there are specialty maps made for future the future timelines. Like they include space terrain and space resources and stuff. But most maps that people play on are just default Civ maps, where Civ 4 tends to end at about like 2100 or something like that, where you send like a colony to Mars or something. Ugh, and then you get like the space civilization or whatever. But I don't know. It was basically a giant teaser for that game. um, the scientific ending was. But yeah, I really, I think they need to focus a lot more on like the earlier text, and like maybe make the text after like galactic, or even maybe make the text after transhuman into a submod itself, so that way it doesn't take up as much data and stuff to store all of this and AI stuff. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I've never played, I only watch. And I'm obsessed with this tech tree. But anyways, let's look more. Transdimensional commerce, hyperstructure engineering, controlled inflation, and that's not monetary inflation, that's like inflation of the universe. Panpsychism, ingenious Euclidean propulsion, Euclidean 5D space dynamometry, controlled vacuum collapse, materialization, literally just summoning something, endless exploration, tesseract construction. You get really, really crazy at the end. Hyperlanes. Now, I would have thought that this would be in like Galactic personally, because like I don't know, maybe it's just my Stellaris brain talking. Experimental cosmology, time reversal, cosmic governance, 3D projections. Wait, is that like holograms? That's weird. That's weird if that's holograms. Hyperintelligence, entropy reversal, sentient energy fields, decompactified space, brain construction. The brain is basically, it's like a giant ass supercomputer the size of a sun. It's crazy. Multiverse traversal, cosmic warfare. Like, there's still war and such, even in this craziness. Like, really? Do you really think that would happen? Like, yeah. You literally become deities. Like, you literally become gods to other civilizations in the universe. Omnibenevolent mandate, parameter tuning, brain crossover episode, spatial transcendence, timeline rectification, universal singularity. Yeah, you get the singularity like here apparently. Alternate history exploration, based USA. Look at that. Oh. Manifold colonization. So it's like an 11-dimensional manifold. You colonize it because it has infinite space in like a meter of three-dimensional space. It's crazy. It's weird. Atemporal beings, subdimensional universe, ascension, directed communication, spiritual realms, multidimensional time, transfinite structures, reality reprogramming, archetypal vector spaces, non-standard mathematics, macroverse traversal, transfinite computation, alpha point, omega point, simulation awareness, and simulation analysis. This is basically the future tech. And it gives you extra health and extra happiness, like it did in base game. So yeah, this mod subscribes to simulation theory, and I really hope that the simulators get rid of the Republicans, please. Anyways, that was me nerding out. I'll probably do something else pretty soon. You might have seen this. I'm going to save that for a milestone, a subscriber milestone. Yeah, I'll take a quick look at it. Yeah, if I get to, if I get to 100 subscribers, I'll do this. Basically, you make your perfect government, and you can try and balance the budget as well if you want. I'm not sure if I will. I'll do one without balancing the budget, and then one with balancing the budget. I'll try and keep it realistic-ish as well, as far as stuff goes. But yeah, but I'm not doing that until I get 100 subscribers. So haha. And then yeah, I guess I don't know. I've kind of thought about it a little, very little, really. Not too much, because I doubt that I'll ever get to it. But who knows? At 500 though, I'll do various political compass tests. Maybe I'll do that as part of the 100 subscriber special. Like, I'll have several things. I'm not sure. I think I'll save the political compass and 8 value stuff for 500. Yeah. And I'll revisit the political simulator as well. But at 100, I'll do that. At 500, I'll do more. And I'll show you a few of the things here, probably, eventually. Some of them are actually school and work related, so I won't show you. But anyways, thank you so very much for watching. And until next time, comrades, solidarity forever.